was working fine. It just slowed down. They actually slowed that thing down.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, Jim, you got 8 seconds.
8?
No, I'm counting backwards. You got
40.
44 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say, our timers are different. Okay, Jim, take a deep breath.
Yeah, I must have did it wrong. Y'all been live for like 30. No, this is right. You went live 30 seconds ago.
We're live.
You gotta set yours wrong.
Huh?
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah, you're live.
I said we were going live, and then he said, no, we're not.
Oh.
So we're live.
You've been live for about 40 seconds, Jim. You're welcome.
This is a wonderful night. Everything has just been so peachy the last 2 weeks. Coordination. It's all the producer's fault. No.
It's time to go home, Jim.
Yeah. Okay, the show's over for tonight. We're leaving. Oh, well, welcome to Freedom Forum. Like a minute and a half into the show. It's quite a lot of developments going on. There's so much stuff, and this isn't everything that I had left on my desk. Don't even know if I'll get through that. All I know is there's just so many things, abortion, the wall, Muslims in Congress, anti-Semitic. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on in our world today. So let's say a prayer for our country. Dear Lord, we look to you for your blessing, for your strength. Give us the strength to endure the things that are the challenges that are thrown at us each day. We need to put you back into our lives, into our schools, into our daily things. In these things we say in your name, amen. I printed up an interesting article here. It's called, it says, think about this. Cows, which is a popular subject these days. I have a hard time with that. I'm sorry. And I'm going to talk about the cows more later, maybe. And the Constitution and the Ten Commandments. Now, is that a combination or what? Okay, the title here is Cows. Is it just me, or does anyone else find it amazing that during the mad cow epidemic, our government could track a single cow born in Canada almost 3 years ago right to the stall where she slept in the state of Washington? And they tracked her calves to their stalls, but they are unable to locate 11 million illegal aliens wandering around our country. Maybe we should give each one of them a cow. I love it. The Constitution. They keep talking about drafting a constitution for Iraq. Why don't we just give them ours? It was written by a lot of really smart guys, and it has worked for over 200 years, and we're not using it anymore. I like this. I love this. The Ten Commandments. The real reason that we can't have the Ten Commandments posted in the courthouse is this. You cannot post, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not lie. In a building full of lawyers, judges, politicians, it creates a hostile work environment. Also, think about this. If you don't want to forward this for fear of offending someone, you are part of the problem. Get her done. I'll do my part. So I just did my part. We were talking earlier about climate change and all this, and this guy, Eugene Robinson, writes for the Washington Post, so that should tell you something there. It says, go big on climate change or get hurt badly. That's his title. Let's consider some real news for a change. Last year was officially proclaimed the fourth warmest on record. You buy that, T?
No.
Right there's the first lie. Scientists predict that melting ice in Antarctica and Greenland could not only raise the sea levels, but further destabilize weather patterns, and progressive members of Congress are proposing the Green New Deal. The first policy framework ambitious enough to meet the challenge of global warming. Does this guy not, does he live in a hole or something? I mean, how many scientists have to tell them that this is a hoax? But he goes on. He goes
We have
further.
our scientists, they have their scientists.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Real?
have to meet
Yeah,
them.
Pelosi. Who's the other one? The one that made all the money?
Al Gore.
Huh?
Al Gore.
Al Gore. He's a great scientist. But you don't want to go by his house because there's a lot of CO2 emissions coming from his house. How many square feet is it? How many airplanes does he have? Buses? He's really worried about climate change.
All the way to the bank.
Yeah, all those are big and important stories, but climate change is the biggest, most important story of our time. I love reading these.
Well, you know, Jim, I do believe in climate change, but it has a lot more to do with the sun and the cycles than it does with us.
Exactly. The sun and all that. We aren't creating all this stuff. Our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will judge us by how well we meet the challenge, and so far we are failing miserably. Scientists from NASA announced Wednesday that 2018 was the Earth's fourth warmest year since record-keeping began 140 years ago. That's bull hockey. Why is it so hot? I love this. This is a great explanation. Because humankind has increased the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by a staggering 40% since the Industrial Revolution. You know, I got about 20 emails that I'm storing up at home and going to put together some real facts about people that really know what's going on. I saw the chart of what CO was way back when and what it is now today. And there's immeasurably lower. There is now more of the heat-trapping gas in the air than at any time in at least over the past 800,000 years. Anyone attempted to shrug or even cheer given the brutal cold that much of the nation suffered last year is whistling past the graveyard. I thought he said it was the warmest year, fourth warmest year, and then he says,
You don't know warming causes the cold?
yeah, that's right. Really good theory. The warming causes the cold later in the year. Huh? I love reading articles. I'm not reading all of it. I'm skipping around, but. And then it has shifted to the polar regions, where the warming process is proceeding most rapidly and ice is melting at an unprecedented pace. You know, didn't we see some pictures of the scientists that were going to Antarctica and their ship got stuck in the ice? How many ships got stuck in the ice? 4 or 5?
Yeah. They didn't show the pictures of the ones in the Arctic that got stuck up there too.
The Arctic, yeah, it was the Arctic.
Well, no, it was in both places. It wasn't, but it was both. You just didn't see the ones in the Arctic. You just saw the
But I thought that was cool when the news actually showed that, the people walking off the ship across the ice to get out. Yeah, ice is melting. Actually, I think they said the ice increased, 8 or 10% over the last several years
in the Arctic, yeah.
in the Arctic.
There is no Northwest Passage anymore.
Amazing. true nature of scientific debate over climate change. It's not about whether global warming is taking place or what's causing it. Those questions are settled. I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff, reading it and then having other knowledge, that makes doing what we do fun. Because this guy has no freaking clue. He's a reporter. The open question is whether the effects of human-induced climate change will be really bad, catastrophically bad, or a threat to civilization. Then, this is the good paragraph. Enter the resolution introduced by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And by the way, they say AOC. She is not part of this building. At AOC. Huh?
This organization.
Not this organization. And Senator Ed Markey, Democrat, Massachusetts. Now let's look where both of those people are from. One's from Massachusetts and one's from New York City. That explains everything. Calling on Congress to create the Green New Deal. The resolution's goal is to reduce U.S. net carbon emissions to zero. Do you understand? This is one of the things I learned about CO2. Without CO2, things don't grow. Do you know that? Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Without CO2, things do not grow. Google it. You don't have to believe me. I read it. I went to a conference. I saw. Yeah.
Jim, do you know that in commercial greenhouses, they add carbon dioxide to the greenhouse so the plants grow better?
Is that right?
Yes.
I never really got into greenhouses, but he just said they actually add CO2 to the greenhouses. I wonder why that is. Oh, so it'll grow. But we're going to reduce it to zero. That must be part of their genocide thing, to where we'll die because we have no food. Emissions to zero through a 10-year national mobilization. Such a crusade as envisioned would create jobs and economic development while at the same time safeguarding the biosphere. Yes, proposals such as upgrading all existing buildings in the United States. Now that I love. I have a thing, if we get to it, and I need to, probably in the second hour, but I'm telling you, that is about as the most far out thing, that in H.R. 1, the bill there. Sooner or later, we're going to have to go big on climate change. Well, Eugene, I hate to say you, but you just got fact-checked. And now, there is no corruption in Washington, D.C. Do you understand that? Uh-oh, now I got to go to confession on Sunday. I lied.
Who's going to take the priesthood confession?
Pardon?
Who's going to take the priesthood confession?
Yeah. Muslim congresswoman lied big time about residency. Freshman Democratic Representative Rashida, whatever, of Michigan registered to vote with a false address and represented a state house district in which she did not reside, according to credit score and property records obtained by Big League Politics. Talab's, I don't know how you say that, but anyways, that's close. T-L-A-I-B-S father told the Detroit News in 2010 that his daughter lied about her residency to run for office. The dad outed her, the website noted. She signed an election affidavit in 2008, Wayne County clerk, claiming she was a citizen of Detroit. Big League Politics concluded she represented the 12th district in the Michigan House of Representatives, even though she was not a resident of the district. She moved to the address only at the beginning of her 2018 campaign for Congress. The petition said she lied about living in Detroit using her father's address and demands a full investigation and recount of every vote that she supposedly received. Her father said she lied big time to get elected. And he said, I never teach her that way. I teach her the right way, he said. It's my house. She didn't live here. She lived in Dearborn in her house with her husband and boy. Now, this is what we have in Congress. Anti-Semitic ties. Last week, an investigation by the Daily Caller News Foundation found she is a member of the Facebook group Palestinian American Congress, whose members often demonize Jews. The group's founder, Palestinian activist Meir Abdel Quader, was a key fundraiser for her and organized campaign events for her around the country. 1 year ago, Abdel Quader posted online an anti-Semitic video that claimed Jews aren't actually Jewish, invented the historical claim to Israel, and secretly controlled the media. The video described Jews as satanic and questioned about 6 million Jews actually died in the Holocaust. In addition, the Clarion Project found that among the guests at her post-swearing-in dinner was Abbas Ahmadeh, an anti-Semite and supporter of Hezbollah. People, right there, that article tells you what's going on in this country. When we start electing people like that to Congress, the downfall of this country is well underway. There's other ones there. You have people like Ocasio in there. We know she's not the driving force behind her mouth. She got help. And see, I wanted to run through, these are different things that just, I mean, I wanted to do this just to show you the variety of stuff that's going on in this country. Here we go. Taxing rainwater coming to your state. Oh. Just when frustrated residents of New Jersey, one of the most heavily taxed states in the U.S., thought Democratic Governor Phil Murphy had already brought the state into the ninth circle of taxation hell with new taxes to save the state's ailing pension system, middle-class voters in one of the least affordable states in the country have now been given one more thing to complain about: a tax on the rain. The rainwater runoff fee tax is based on the amount of impervious surface on property, rooftops, parking lots, driveways. This is nuts. This is as bad as the green thing. That does not allow rainfall to penetrate into the ground, but instead causes it to run off into our streams and rivers. You know, I don't have a stream or a river near my house.
You got a coulee?
I got a coulee.
That's a stream?
Oh, well, they would probably say that. It means that if you have sheds or other outbuildings, patios, anything that prevents immediate absorption, you pay. In Knoxville, the previous city mayor was pushing for the fee tax, but it would also have included determining any grade change in your property. A fee would have been determined by the percentage of the grade. All you people are out there going, Jim, you're crazy. This is real. I can't make this stuff up. In 2018, more people fled New Jersey than any other state. Gee, I wonder why. Why? Perhaps because it's one of the highest tax states already, and Governor Phil Murphy is preparing to sign it into law over the objections, not only of state Republicans, but a lot of overtaxed property owners. See, here's the deal. the property owner gets nailed with this. But not the rent, the person that's paying rent gets nailed because the owner of that property is going to raise the rent to cover the tax. Under the law, each of the 565 municipalities could set up a public stormwater utility to build and manage sewer systems to treat polluted film-filled stormwater runoff. More money. I didn't know rainwater was so nasty. Neither did a judge you will hear from later. The utilities would also have the power to levy steep fees on properties. Oh, and by the way, the state would snatch up 5% of the proceeds. I mean, I'm not reading through all of this. I highlighted some of this. I just, the craziness that's going on. I mean, the rain tax has the potential to transform Maryland from business unfriendly state to a business hostile state. That's just, you understand, people? How many of y'all have rain barrels at home? I do. And it works real nice to water the flower beds and everything. I know, speaking to my brother-in-law who lives in Arizona, he said Arizona is starting to become California. And they don't want no more people coming from California to Arizona. Speaking of anti-Semitism, this is another good article. Louis Farrakhan chides Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Michigan, for anti-Semitism apology. There we go. Go ahead.
Good evening, my fellow radical. Called in a little earlier tonight.
Yes,
I
sir.
just have a few comments on a few things here. Now, listen, what I'm about to say, I'm saying this about just the majority of the people in these states, not everybody. The majority of people in California, New York, New Jersey, and some of them other East Coast liberal states, I hope that your taxes go through the roof, and I hope you get taxed on every little thing. And I don't feel sorry for you, because y'all are the people that keep voting these left-wing liberal loons in office. Vote these people, a lot of people. What is wrong with y'all? I mean, I don't understand it.
Hey.
They moan and complain. They go to the ballot box and vote the same clowns in office. Seriously, Jim, I'm not the smartest person in the world. Can you explain real quick why? What's going on?
Well, you just got so much money flowing around, and I think that's a big part of it. And there is a big push. The people cannot get over that Hillary lost and messed up their plans to make us a socialistic country. Period. Bottom line. That's the whole deal.
Right. Then it's like I called Cortez's office today. But I don't think she has any staff members yet, so I left a message. Yeah, you saw our latest boondoggle comparing the border wall to the Berlin Wall. But this is what I left a message. I said, you made a comment about Amazon, paying people scraps, okay? That's between $100,000 and $150,000 a year. How much did you make a month ago when you were still working as a bartender in a Mexican restaurant? That's what I want to know.
Well,
what you made?
I mean, I had a half-sister that lived in New York City. Some of them bartenders make pretty good money, buddy. I hate to tell you that. A lot of money under the table.
I understand, but I'm sure she wouldn't make it between $100,000 and $150,000.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
And my last comment, I'll hang up. I'll call it back next hour. You saw old crazy Bernie announced for president. Listen, people, I know they got some Democrats watching this show. I'm going to say this nicely, and I'm going to say it slowly. Mark your calendar, February the 20th, 2019, LD, I'll give you my whole name, Lynn Delcom, says any candidate, any Democratic candidate that supports eliminating private insurance, where 180 million people get their insurance through private insurance, and most of them through the employer, will not be president of this country. They got 3 already that disqualified themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Kamala Harris, no, 4 of them, Kamala Harris, Gillibrand, Booker, and Bernie Sanders, all support eliminating private insurance.
Exactly.
I'm going to say it one more time. These 4 people have 0 chance. Catch you next hour. Thank you.
All right, bud. Thanks for the call. Very interesting. And I mean, I watch, I listen, I hear things around me. All you see is what the fake news puts out all the time. But I'm telling you, there's an underlying thing in this country. The deal is, when it comes time to vote, you got to get out and vote. That's the deal. And when we get closer to those dates of election and stuff, we'll be pushing that a little heavier on this show and with my organization. One of the other things that I put in my first pile, Louis Farrakhan chides Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Michigan, for anti-Semitism apology. I mean, you know what this lady said to Trump. The Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, says that Rep. Omar merely spoke the truth, and should not apologize for saying Israel and the U.S. Jewish lobby used money to control U.S. politicians. What? How much money did Hillary get from Russia?
Well, she got money from everybody.
Everybody. I mean, that foundation, but she's still not in jail. Whatever. Indeed, the black nationalist anti-Semite chided the Minnesota Democrat who apologized last week for playing into an anti-Semitic tropes about supposed Jewish control of banking and finance. And I don't know if I have it in here, but you need to be very worried about areas like Minnesota. Obama, and I've seen different numbers, settled quietly, unbeknownst to us mainly, 60 to 80,000 Somalians in the Minnesota area. That's how this girl got elected. And none of those are American citizens. No investigation. None. That just ticks me off. Farrakhan praised Ms. Omar from Somalia. From Somalia. She started talking about the Benjamins, and they are trying to make her apologize. Sweetheart, don't do that. The Benjamins. You know what the Benjamins are, right? The money. Addressing himself to the Muslim Congresswoman, Mr. Farrakhan told her at his annual Founders Day speech Sunday in Chicago that you don't have nothing to apologize for. Israel and AIPAC pays off senators and congressmen to do their bidding. You know, it could be true. In today's world, I mean, how many people go up there and become millionaires? Pelosi, 142 million. That's what she's worth. But what's her husband worth? How many contracts did she get? They just caught Maxine Waters feeding money to her daughter. Nothing happens to them. These are all ethics violations. I didn't print this article out. I could have clicked on it and printed it. How Minneapolis Somali community became the terrorist recruitment capital of the U.S. Telling you people, one step at a time. Still, Mr. Farrakhan warmed himself up to the subject, began following as Miss Omar that you're not lying, and if you're not lying, stop laying down. You were sent there by the people to shake up that corrupt house. Really. These are all, I mean, I just ran through different aspects. And now we have, I don't propose to be well and understand all this stuff, but here we go again with Mr. Robideau. First of all, he comes out and all of a sudden we're dealing with next gen and wanting to sell LUS, and nobody knew about it until. Of course, some people say they didn't know about it, but I don't buy that. So what do we have here? Robideau, mayor backs aid after calls for look into private loan. Lafayette Parish Mayor President Joe Robideau on Friday reiterated support for Assistant Marcus Bruno after City Parish Councilman Jay Castile called on the administration to investigate Bruno's personal use of federal grant funds. The Advocate reported this month that Bruno in 2016 received a $35,000 private business loan from Lafayette Neighbors Economic Development Corporation, which provides loans to small businesses with grant money provided by the city parish. City parish employees who are in a position to gain inside information or help decide how to use Department Housing and Urban Development grants that feed the loan program and are not allowed to personally benefit from the grants according to federal regulations. After he received a loan, Bruno helped lead the administration's effort to secure grant funding for Lafayette neighborhoods while consulting on recommendations for the nonprofit board and revisions to its bylaws according to emails obtained through public records. The Lafayette Neighborhood Board decides when to foreclose on loans in default. Bruno's payments on his loan were returned for non-sufficient funds 3 consecutive months. This gets more interesting. Last year, according to Lafayette Neighborhood's bank statements, Bruno and Robideau maintained that he is current on his payments. Now, why would one entity report that he's not, and then the two that are cahooted say yes? Robideau initially responded to a statement that he was deeply disappointed with the Advocate's reporting, which he called misleading. Castile on Friday called for a public, thorough, and fair investigation into the loan, while noting that it is not entirely clear what procedures are in place, if any, to guard against this and other potential conflicts. Robideau told council members he elevated the issue to a higher level of scrutiny following the January 16th records request for Bruno's emails. The Advocate requested interviews, written statements, and factual interstate information concerning Lafayette neighborhoods and Bruno in phone calls, emails, and texts with administrative spokesperson Cedra Wingirter over 3 weeks leading up to the February 9th article. The interview request included a January 19th phone call in which Wingirter was notified of the Advocate's intent to report on the loan in the context of pertinent regulations. You see, here we go again. Who did what and why? The government, again. And then how the Amazon headquarter deal fell apart. Gone in a New York minute. Now listen, part of this deal irritated and agitated people in New York City. Okay, this is what Cuomo got in on the action. I'll change my name to Amazon Cuomo if that's what it takes, he joked at the time. The Amazon made it official. It chose Long Island neighborhood of Queens to build a $2.5 billion campus that could house 25,000 workers, in addition to new offices planned for Northern Virginia. Cuomo and New York Mayor de Blasio, Democrats who have political adversaries for years, trumpeted the decision on a major coup after edging out more than 230 other proposals. What they didn't expect was protests, hostile public hearings, and the disparaging tweets that would come in the next 3 months, eventually leading to Amazon's dramatic breakup with New York. I mean, the deal included $1.5 billion in special tax breaks and grants for the company, but a closer look at the total package revealed to be at least worth $2.8 billion. Some of the politicians who had signed a letter to woo Amazon were now balking at the tax incentives. And I mean, it says New York succumbs to billionaire backlash. Populist Democrats and socialists curious might never pass a... This was another one of those Ocasio things. Can you imagine if you're a billionaire like Jeff Bezos, I guess that's how you say it. Anyways, and they're gonna take 80% of your income? 80% top tax rate institute the wealth tax or break up Facebook, but they have managed to help scuttle vessel aid plans of the world's richest man and one of the world's most valuable companies. Amazon is officially scrapping plans to build a headquarters in New York City after a stunning professional setback to the personal ones that the ultra-billionaire boss Jeff Bezos has already suffered this year. Of course, the opposition to corporate subsidies is hardly an issue owned by the left. Conservative economists have questioned the long wisdom of relocation incentives, whether to businesses or baseball teams. The research is pretty clear that it's generally a bad idea. Moreover, there's a difference between a docile company that dominates a market and a paranoid one that sees dangers everywhere and invests like it. For years, Amazon never turned a profit because it's taking all of its cash and it generated and plowing it back into the business, particularly warehouses and its Amazon Web Service cloud business. Last year, Amazon invested more than $13.6 billion in information technology, making it the biggest corporation IT spender in the world. So New York lost the deal. And at this point, which I was going to do at the beginning, let's bring up our favorite video of 2016 with Mr. Trump. Next thing I'm going to be talking about is hate crimes. Should be Trump.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another four-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
We're back. You know, that video, and we try to show it each week, because what it really does, it it shows you what he talked about in 2016 and what he's doing today. I don't think, and I thought I printed it out, and maybe I did, but there was a pretty good thing that that he put out about, he knew he was going to get hammered when he went into office, but he never thought it would be this bad and this vile. In all my years, I have never seen a president treated like this. The hypocrisy of his whole presidential thing. When you look at what Obama and Bush and Clinton, the stuff that they pulled while they were in office, amazing. Now, we just had an incident which there's so much variation in this deal. And this is what the Democrats do. And I know some of you out there are saying, Jim, knock it off. Listen, how many diversions, when there was big stuff going on in D.C. over the last 2 years, how many mass shootings, how many different diversions have there been to take light off of the real deal? Too many. This Smollett developments leave some baffled, others outraged. The national outrage that simmered after actor Jussie, is that how you say that? What a name. Well, his parents messed over him. Jussie Smollett said he was attacked by people shouting racial and anti-gay slurs and was fueled in part by celebrities who spoke out loud and strong on social media. But the outrage has now been replaced by surprise, doubt, and bafflement as the singers, actors, and politicians who came out in support of the Empire star struggled to digest the strange twist the case has taken. Some conservative pundits, meanwhile, have gleefully seized on that moment. The narrative that just a week ago seemed cut and dry has become messy and divisive. And it's all playing out again on social media. Smollett, who is black and gay, said he was physically attacked last month by two masked men shouting racial and anti-gay slurs, and this is MAGA country, a reference to Make America Great Again slogan used in President Donald Trump's election campaign. Smollett said the attackers looped a rope around his neck before running away as he was getting out, as he was out getting food at the Subway restaurant. I saw just this afternoon, they put a video out of the two brothers that they questioned purchasing the mask and the stuff that these guys wore. Unbelievable. And these people are connected to guess who? The police are not talking. They've interviewed them, they let the guys go. But they showed in the video the exact things that these people wore that supposedly attacked this guy. But then published reports emerged that police believe Smollett may have staged the attack, something the actor has vehemently denied through his lawyers. He will not go talk to the police, or that a grand jury may hear evidence in the case. The report cited unidentified police sources. Skeptics, including conservative pundits Dinesh D'Souza and Tomi Lahren, seized on the doubts that have arisen, and libs wonder why we don't believe their BS stories, Lauren tweeted Sunday. On Sunday, she criticized those who used social media after the attack to push the narrative that Trump supporters are racist homophobes. So the jury's still out on this. Here are all the politicians who rushed to judgment on the Smollett case. Thought this was interesting. Even Pelosi pulled her tweet. Those Democrats included Senators Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, go figure, and Reps Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, among others. Waters blamed the attack on President Donald Trump, and asked, why all of a sudden do we have people unable to study while black, unable to mow a lawn while black, unable to have a picnic while black, and being attacked? These are our leaders in Washington, D.C. Do you not think that's anti-Semitic? Unbelievable. Pelosi tweeted, the racist, homophobic attack on Smollett is an affront to our humanity. No one should be attacked for who they are or whom they love. Really? What did y'all do to Kavanaugh? Oh, I'm not supposed to bring that up. Meanwhile, Ocasio-Cortez tweeted that the attack was not possibly a racist and homophobia attack, but that it was a racist and homophobia attack. Is that wonderful or what? On Thursday, reports emerged that the Chicago Police Department now believe that the incident was a hoax and that Smollett staged the attack to garner sympathy because his character was be written off the show. 2 Nigerian brothers were arrested in connection with the case, and on Saturday, CNN reported that the brothers are now cooperating fully with law enforcement. So, as is when anything like this happens, other articles appear. I got enough time to get this in. Again, geez, I'm not going to get through all this. A list of fake hate crimes since Trump was elected. Note the word fake, and they were all proven fake. Caution, hate crime hoaxes ahead. These people have too much time on their hands. So we'll run through these real quick. I got about 3 minutes till we go off the air for a few minutes. Anti-Muslim hate crime in Michigan turns out to be a hoax. Muslim woman at the University of Michigan received national attention from national outlet Washington Post in 2016 after she claimed a drunk 20-something man threatened to light her on fire if she didn't remove her hijab, which was false. Bisexual student fakes Trump-inspired hate crime. Tara LaVoque, an openly bisexual senior at North Park, claimed to be the target of hateful notes and emails. Never happened. Gas station racism goes viral, then police debunk it. Philadelphia woman Ashley Boyer claimed in 2016 she was harassed at a gas station by white Trump-supporting males, one of whom pulled a weapon on her. Never happened. Do these people not understand that most every business now has cameras? White men robbed Muslim woman of her hijab and wallet, except it never happened. 18-year-old Muslim woman in Louisiana claimed in November 2016 that 2 white men, one of them whom wearing a Trump hat, attacked and robbed her, taking her wallet and hijab while yelling racial slurs. Never happened. Drunk white men attack Muslim woman story that also never happened in December of 2016. White guy sets his own car on fire, paints racial slur on his own garage. Denton, Texas. Oh. Prankster tricks liberal journalists into spreading anti-Trump hoax. Y'all get the picture, people? Israeli man behind anti-Semitic bomb threats in the U.S., 2017. Hoax at St. Olaf. Students at St. Olaf College in Minnesota staged protests and boycotted classes in 2017 after racial notes targeting black students were found around the campus. It later came out that a black student was responsible for the racist notes. 1 minute. Fake hate at Air Force. K-State fake hate crime. Graffiti carried out by non-white student. Waiter fakes note calling himself a terrorist. Waitress fakes racist note, blames law enforcement. New York woman's hate crime that wasn't. Student faked racist notes. Covington catastrophe and anti-Semitic vandal. That's quite a list, and we're going to come back with some other stuff. Talk about border and the new green thing, and all that good stuff. And if you have anything else you want us to deal with, give us a call. But anyways, God bless America. I mean, we need to pray for our country, people.